you're joining from. We really, really love to hear where you're joining from. So this conference will expose you to the nitty-gritty of different available tools that can perform AI automation without writing any line of code. You know, coding is something that some people find very rigorous, but this conference is really going to expose you to no-code AI tools. Our speakers will be walking you through some of the no-code tools you can use in your business and in everyday life. This no-code AI conference is aimed at helping you to become a machine learning expert by enhancing your skills on comprehensive knowledge and the required hands-on experience on different cloud-based ML tools for solving real-time industry-based projects without needing any complex coding exercise. You know, so if you are scared of coding, this is, the right tool for you, is the right place to be right now. You know, the demand for ML professionals is on the rise, and there is so much opportunity across the globe for everyone with machine learning skills. So this is DSN. We are Data Scientist Network, formerly known as Data Science Nigeria, and we are committed to raising 1 million AI talents and building AI solutions that improve the quality of life and well-being of 2 billion people in emerging markets. Wow, that's a big goal, right? So how do we achieve this? So we are focused on 3 core areas. First area is community for learning and research, product development for social impacts, and partnership for solution delivery. So DSN has evolved over the years. We are 5 years now. So we started as a learning community, and we moved to research and social good applications, then to corporate support and solution deployment. And now, we are into startup ventures, vertical partnership, and AI for national development. DSN has been recognized globally. We've really, really gotten a lot of global recognition. DSN is the number one, yes, artificial intelligence learning community and solution delivery network in Africa. We won that award at Deep Learning in Durban in 2019. DSN won the best. I want you to notice the tense of phrasing, the first, the best. So we won the best academic, paper in the 21st edition of the Global Economic and Computation Conference. DSN is the only African finalist at the X Prize competition on building advanced AI algorithms to address COVID-19. We emerged as the only African finalist. That is simply amazing. 2 of our products was recognized globally at the top 100 AI product by UNESCO. And those products are the EdTech AI Adaptive Learning Engine and Prescribed Right. You can check this online. It's really a global development. So this is some of our pictures of our work and our academic paper. DSN is always presenting papers at global AI conferences and the foremost scientific conferences you can think about. Yes, so we also released our first artificial intelligence and Python book for elementary students and beginners in Africa. So if you have, you have younger ones, anyone in primary school, junior secondary school, this is a walkthrough. The interface is so friendly, children friendly. You could literally, learn, even if you're a beginner, you don't even know where to start from, this book is for you. So you can get it on Amazon, Apple, Google, and Jumia. And of course, we have a dedicated AI research lab in Yaba here in Lagos, in the heart of Nigeria, Lagos City. So our AI research lab in the Empower Startup, we want to host your conferences. This space is beautiful and, spacious for you to, to kick off your career in AI. And then, we also have co-working spaces if you're interested in working with us. My colleague will drop the link to register in the chat section. Yes, so our business model for global impact, cuts across different fields. So we are not limited to one field. We've delved into career tech, fintech, retail tech, edtech, platform tech, health tech, name it, we are really passionate about building AI solutions that will enhance the quality of life and well-being of 2 billion people in emerging markets. Yes, so we also have DSN AI incubation participants. We have an incubation hub that helps startups. So the goal of the incubation is tailored to development and improving startup. And we are so proud of it. So we are also supported by world-class advisory board, ranging from different, people from different sectors, and these people keep us in shape. They ensure that we are technically sound and we are following the right standard. All right, I want to encourage you to join our community of professionals. My colleague will drop the link in the chat section, but you can also just scan this code to join our community of professionals. We are doing lots of great stuff and you would not want to miss out on this. Right, so today, I'm really excited. I know to be anchoring this session today. We're going to be learning low-code AI model development using NVIDIA TAO Toolkit and ready-to-use pre-trained model. And the person that will be taking us in this session is someone I'm really, really excited about. I've read about her and she is someone I'm really, really super excited to meet on the call. So she is no other than Amulya Vishwanath. She's the developer relation leader at NVIDIA. Amulya leads AI evangelism and developer strategy on the emerging area teams at NVIDIA. She enables developer communities and startups to build and innovate with NVIDIA AI technologies and tools. She's really, really passionate about AI and startups. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please show your appreciation with your favorite emoji. Really, I want you to appreciate, Amulya as she leads this conversation for the next 30 minutes. Amulya, are you with us?
Hi, Alison. Thank you so much for the introduction. Can you hear me?
All right. Yes, you can. You can share your screen now.
Awesome. Right. Thank you. All right, let me quickly get started here. Nice to meet you all. Happy evening. Do I just take over sharing screen, Alison?
Yes, you can share your screen right away.
Okay.
They host already.
All righty. Okay. Can you all confirm that you're able to see my slide deck?
Yeah, your screen is up. We can see it.
Okay. How about now? We're good?
Yes, we're good.
Awesome. So good evening, everyone. Nice to meet you. As Alison mentioned, I'm Amulya. I work at NVIDIA. I've been with NVIDIA for over 4 years now. And I'm here to talk a little bit about low-code AI model development using NVIDIA's TAO Toolkit. TAO is really train, adapt, and optimize toolkit. And also we have a plethora of pre-trained models. All of the tools and the pre-trained models that I'll be talking about are free, and anybody can go and download our software from NVIDIA's NGC. Think of it as like our app store or software hub where you can download free software and pre-trained models and in general learn more about what we have to offer for developers or anybody who's enthusiastic about getting started with their AI journey. All right, this is the quick agenda. So we're going to run through, like what's happening, what are some of the top use cases that you're seeing and hearing. Low code, no code AI is becoming more and more popular. The rise of this approach, what is the benefit with industry versus, professional learning about low code, no code, the toolkit itself, NVIDIA TAO Toolkit, the pre-trained models. I'm also going to walk you through quick end-to-end sample apps, and then there are additional resources for you to get started today. We'll quickly summarize what we discussed, and then we can jump into Q&A. So I'll take Q&A towards the end of my session. And also, I want to take the opportunity to invite you to GTC. So this is the quick agenda we'll go over in today's call. So you're hearing a lot, maybe let me minimize this one. All right. So you're hearing a lot about AI being utilized across multiple use cases. So whether it's video analytics or vision in general, or it could be a speech enabled service or application. Let's say, for instance, you're hearing and seeing a lot about an Amazon Echo device that's listening to what you have to say and maybe play your favorite music. Or there might be a camera installed in an airport. Let's say you've lost your laptop bag and you can locate them. So there are a lot of sensors, whether it's audio or speech or even video, that are integrated across the world. So it's said that there are over a billion sensors across the world. Now, you might be wondering, what are some key use cases that AI is being, more and more popular? So I'm sure you're already familiar with smart cities, right? Think of it as smart spaces, or, like where you want sensors at a traffic light, or you want to just know, like how much of traffic is causing congestion at a specific, junction, let's say. Or it could be that you want to know how many products are there in a specific warehouse in a retail atmosphere, and what are some products you're running low on. So AI is prevalent across many use cases, whether you want to detect and classify, let's say, a specific disease related to a healthcare application, or you want to build a machine that helps you or assists you with maybe, let's say, making your smoothie using a robotic arm, or maybe you're trying to simplify a caller's journey. Let's say, for instance, you call customer service for a big company like IKEA selling furniture. It's hard to get them on a call in person because there's just so many customers. My apologies. For some reason, all the spam calls. Tell me about it. All right. One moment. Let me bring it back in here. All right. My apologies. Seems like people want to call right now. Let me switch to do not disturb. All right. So in a call center atmosphere, you have a lot of people dialing into, let's say, a furniture store like IKEA. You need service with, let's say, returning something, or you want to place an order for something. It's really hard for a human to, take all of the support requests that are coming in. Let's say, for instance, it's in thousands or 10,000s of calls. But really, AI is more so there to assist you with specific application or a task to think. Also, you can detect, defects in an industrial setting. Let's say, for instance, you want to detect defects on a car hood, for instance, or you want to just create something exciting, such as a retail robot assistant that allows you to, price a specific item, or maybe, call another human associate and so on. So the possibilities of bringing AI into all of these use cases is, I would say, close to infinite. Now, you're hearing a lot about low-code, no-code approach, and you're hearing companies, startups, your friends, developers in general talking about this approach. And why is that so, right? So if you think about it, companies are looking to enhance a user experience, or it could be a developer who's using their service. And at the end of the day, you want to build an application faster, you want to build an effective application, and you want to build integrations and make them seamless. So a lot of the low-code, no-code approach that companies are making available for developers like us is that they want to they want you to take less time and remove the redundancy or repetitiveness in, let's say, for instance, building a model from scratch. So instead of building a model from scratch, you can think about focusing your time on optimizing or customizing your model. And the reason why the industry wants to help you with that, or a lot of companies want to help you with that, is that You, of course, have a lot of time, but don't you want to spend a lot of the time optimizing and customizing your model than having to learn everything from scratch? Let's say if you want to build a model from scratch, you typically need to know an AI or a deep learning framework, for instance, TensorFlow, PyTorch, and so on. But if you were to abstract it and just think about, hey, I have custom data and I want to detect birds in my backyard, and you know what, instead of spending weeks to months learning how to build a model using TensorFlow or PyTorch, you can get all of the goodness by using a toolkit like TAO. I'm sure there are many industry alternatives in some form or fashion, but if you were to build an effective AI application, I'm sure you've heard of NVIDIA's name quite a bit, and our platforms, and of course our AI toolkits such as TAO that are really there to help you add more and more productivity. All right. So really, to summarize this slide, there's a lot of initiatives companies and developers are putting into to head the low code, no code direction. And the reason so is that in traditional approaches, it takes much longer. Of course, you get to learn more, but what, what I want you to take away from this is that while you spend more time learning about a lot of things, you can certainly, abstract a lot of the learnings by using much simpler, easy to use, high productivity, low code, no code toolkits that we've built for you. So now if you're wondering about, wait a minute, I am new to AI and I want to know how do I build AI models? And, this is a good, visual in terms of understanding what are some key challenges with building a model. Now, let's say you're a developer or you intend to become a developer and you have to learn a certain set of skills or tools to get started with building a model. Now, if you think about it, in order to get started with building a model, you have hundreds of model architectures that are available. I'm sure you might have already seen open model zoos available online where you can pick and choose what type of model you want. Let's say you want to classify species of animals, or you want to classify, let's say, colors of bags in a shopping mall setting. There are so many different models that you can build. And every time you want to build a model, it might be use case specific. But if you think about it in an enterprise or a company level implementation, it's not one model. You have to build many more models. So, which means you have to look at different model architectures, different use cases, large data sets, which means more data wrangling. And you have to choose a right deployment and more optimal way where you can bring all these models to, orchestrate and operate together. So there's a lot going on here. So let me recap. So you need to know about model architectures. You need to have access to large data sets. So you have, a very accurate model that can do the right thing, whether it's classifying birds or maybe, classifying a specific disease and so on. But also, in order to do this, the more traditional and manual way is to actually learn the AI frameworks. But now, what if you were able to abstract all of this? Could you please mute, please? Someone is speaking. So yes, one thing is that, you're looking at a lot of the different frameworks, but with a toolkit like NVIDIA TAO, all of these frameworks and how you use them are abstracted. So everything is happening the way you would want, but it's much more simplified so that you can get started. And we have a plethora of pre-trained models. So in today's call, we're going to focus on just the training part of it. And mostly we are going to be covering 1 and 2, given the amount of time we have. So think of it as instead of you building a model from scratch, NVIDIA has already built a plethora of pre-trained models that are ready to be used. They're free for you to download from our model zoo. Our model zoo essentially is our registry, and it's called NGC. I'll share all the links after I wrap up the presentation. So essentially, you can either use your own Onyx friendly models and bring it to TAO Toolkit, or you can use one of our existing NVIDIA pre-trained models with over 100+ model architectures. So let's say you want to do object detection, people detection, vehicle license plate recognition. The cool thing about TAO Toolkit is that it not only helps you go the low-code, no-code approach for computer vision, but also we have the same toolkit that allows you to build conversational AI applications. And which is why you'll see that, under pre-trained models, there are a combination of computer vision centric models, and there are also, automatic speech recognition, text-to-speech models, and NLP models as well that are supported for any user to get started. So the key takeaway, in phase one is that you don't have to build a model from scratch. You can take an existing model for, let's say, a computer vision or a conversational AI application and apply transfer learning. And the way you do or apply transfer learning is using TAO Toolkit. So previously, TAO Toolkit was also known as Transfer Learning Toolkit. And we, last year renamed it as TAO Toolkit. So TAO means train, adapt, and optimize toolkit. So all of this happens within this toolkit. So you don't have to write hundreds and thousands of lines of code. It's simple commands in a CLI interface. And we also will be launching a UI for it very soon as well. But it's simple commands, as simple as TLT-train, TLT-prune, and so on. So, and it goes to say that, instead of writing those hundreds of lines of code that I mentioned earlier, you just have to pull one of the existing pre-trained models from our. Could you please mute, please? Thanks. So you just have to take a pre-trained model from our repo. Think of it as iPhone's App Store or Android App Store, where you go to download an application. Similarly, we have a repository where you can download the models. You can also download TAO Toolkit. And as I already mentioned, you can take models and TAO Toolkit into many industries. And here you basically do all of the training, you customize it and keep a model ready, let's say, for instance, for traffic analytics, and then you want to deploy that model. So as I already mentioned, computer vision and conversational AI, you just need one toolkit, but you have a plethora of choice in terms of which model you want to use. And when you get to deployment, you can use DeepStream, which is also a low-code approach. We have a user interface, pretty straightforward. One of the snapshots that I shared earlier here, this is actually from DeepStream. So in the interest of time, I'm not covering DeepStream in this call, but I would love for you to join our technical sessions in September, where we'll talk more about DeepStream and Riva and so on at our conference. And Riva is our deployment SDK for conversational AI applications. For simplicity, for this talk, think about it as you have a lot of models. You can pick and choose whichever model you like, use a simple toolkit with simple commands, that is the TAO Toolkit, and you can also deploy using DeepStream and Riva based on the type of application you've built. So this is the end-to-end pipeline that will allow you to really reduce months and months of development time into hours to a few days, depending on the complexity of the application you're building. So again, as I mentioned, we have over 100 plus permutations of optimized model architectures that run on NVIDIA GPUs. And we have a plethora of platforms where, depending on the complexity of your application, you can choose to, build and deploy using NVIDIA's Jetson platforms, or if you're building a large scale data center based application, you could also use one of our data center GPUs or server size compute as well. Think about it as, you can take one of our backbone architectures or pre-trained models, whether it's, YOLO v3, AlexNet, GoogleNet, and so on. But also we've built custom task specific models with over millions of data already. And one such example is the PeopleNet model. We also have vehicle detection model, speech recognition model, gaze, action recognition. We've built many of these that are ready for you to get started today and integrate it into a cool, fun application. It could be identifying different yoga poses, or it could be, like identifying, let's say, patient fall detection, let's say, for instance. So, it's up to you how you want to use these pre-trained models. They're all free. We strive for high accuracy. So we continue to update our models with, more and more accurate data sets, and also making sure that, like we have a model card. So if you're curious about any of these models, you can look up, let's say, for instance, NVIDIA people detection model, and you'll find our NGC model card with all of the information in terms of the KPIs that we measure for the model, accuracy, and, like anything and everything that you need. Think of it as a report card for an AI model that we have built. All right. So I'm actually going to cover a little bit more about this in the coming slides. So I'm going to jump there. So one of the cool things about TAO Toolkit is that, yes, you can apply and do transfer learning, but also it's not just transfer learning and bringing a model into applying transfer learning, but you can also do data augmentation. And the cool thing about this is that, you can do offline or online data augmentation. You can blur an image. You could apply, like, a vertical flip aspect, or, like you can decide to rotate the, like data set coming in. You can also optimize for color, whether it's, hue rotation, saturation, and so on. And all of these are simple to do with the simple CLI interface that I mentioned using TAO Toolkit. Another thing that's possible is that you can add new classes, and it's as simple as mentioning something like, like add helmet. For instance, if you're building a people detection model, but now you want to detect people wearing a helmet, for instance. So you already know that NVIDIA has a ready-to-use PeopleNet model for you. So now you can take that ready-to-use PeopleNet model and find, let's say, an open source labeled helmet data set online, or if you have your own custom data, bring that in, and you basically apply transfer learning using TAO Toolkit, and now you're able to annotate, people and faces in general. And now with that, like you can further optimize, like let's say, for instance, I'm going to cover a little bit more about the features like pruning and so on, but essentially the takeaway here is that you can add new classes, you can take an existing model, apply transfer learning, apply new classes, detect people, like riding a bike, or detect people wearing a helmet, detect people not wearing a mask. So, like the possibilities are close to infinite. So model pruning is also a really cool feature. And, like at the end of this presentation, I'm sure you'll have one or two things that you can, easily apply, whether it's principles or the toolkit and the pre-trained models themselves. Whether you're a beginner or, you're already a professional, I'm sure you'll find, more than one thing that's beneficial from this presentation. So model pruning is one of the cool things that you could do using NVIDIA's TAO Toolkit. And the reason why you want to do model pruning is that think of it as like in reality, you have a let's say a Christmas tree, but you have to fit in that Christmas tree in a box so that you can ship it to your friend. But there might be additional or excessive branches that may be pruned, but still look beautiful. It's as simple as like that's the analogy that I try to give. So very similarly, you can reduce the model size by model pruning, and it's as simple as running the command tlt-prune. As I mentioned, it's all simple commands to use this toolkit. It's, tlt-train, tlt-eval, tlt-prune, tlt-export, and so on. So it's super easy to use the toolkit. So again, model pruning is mainly used to reduce the size of the model. And at the same time, you want to do pruning so that it still retains or preserves accuracy. So you'll see that some of the models that we tested model pruning on, for example, a traffic CamNet pre-trained model that we already have in our repository, you can, instead of using an unpruned network, and apply pruning ability through TAO Toolkit and reduce the model size significantly. And what does this mean if you're pruning it, right? You save more on the cost side, you save more on compute side, and like you're still packing and getting an efficient model at the end of the day. There's more in our technical walkthroughs. I'll share more blogs, but at a high level, again, like model pruning is one of the cool features. You'll hear it a lot from a lot of the industry experts in terms of, like how they are, reducing the model size, but still preserving accuracy. And this is how it's done. While instead of you manually, finding, the intermediary layers or the hidden layers and pruning them, you can use simple commands like tlt-prune and do that. All right, so quantization is also a cool feature available through TAO Toolkit. So if you think about it, a lot of the like data that's represented, it's in a floating point, right? So FP32, FP16, but it does take up more compute. Now, instead of that, you can quantize the floating point, or like transform these weights into int8 specifically. So with in order to do that, you can again run simple commands, and there's a simple config file that you can use to perform post-training quantization, or QAT, which is quantizing errors from weights and tensors during training. So all of these are super simplified. Instead of you spending hours to even days to figuring out how do I preserve accuracy, but they go from FP16 or FP32 to int8. You can do that. And we have a lot of the existing pre-trained models that our engineers have already applied quantization for. And you can see that, for instance, like a PeopleNet ResNet 34 model, shows, increased throughput by applying quantization, QAT, quantization aware training. All right, so far we talked about data augmentation. We spoke about quantization aware training, post-quantization training as well. We also covered how we can add new classes, but guess what? We've also recently added support into having different camera types. So for instance, if you take the free PeopleNet pre-trained model that we have, you can bring in even a thermal IR data set and identify, like IR-based, images as well, or scene in general. Again, a lot of the features get added in a range of 4 to 6 months. So if you're curious about, what the latest features are, I cover a few of them in this presentation. But if you're curious to learn more in depth about the different features, I encourage you to check out TAO Toolkit Getting Started page. So one of the also recent announcements that we made is that initially, when we launched this toolkit, You could take any of the NVIDIA pre-trained models like the PeopleNet or the NVIDIA optimized GoogleNet, AlexNet, and so on. But also very recently, we made it much more simpler and allowed Onyx model support. So you can bring in any non-native TAO models and still, train, prune, apply quantization, iterate, reevaluate the model, and pull an encrypted model that can be deployed with DeepStream for computer vision. And if you are building a conversational AI application, you deploy the exported model with Riva, which is our conversational AI deployment SDK. So overall, there's a lot of flexibility with this toolkit and the pre-trained models that we offer, but also we welcome, any Onyx model import that you have. I'll share the presentation after this call, but we do have demo videos that kind of show how simple these are to do. All right, so we have about 5 to 10 more minutes, so I'll just quickly run through this. So also very recently we announced the Tensorboard integration. So the cool thing about this, if you haven't already tried out Tensorboard, is that you can visualize your whole training process. So you can understand, how training loss and accuracy are pulling up. You can also, visualize the prediction per epoch, and how let's say for instance, you can adjust the brightness or contrast for bounding boxes, or you could also check out the histogrammic view of weights in general. This is a brand new feature that we have added. So if you're into visualizing how the model training process happens, highly encourage you to take a look at Tensorboard, and TAO Toolkit is integrated to Tensorboard. We do have a demo here. Let me see if I can quickly launch this. I'm going to quickly click through this in the interest of time. So pick a model that you want to, import into TAO Toolkit. And then, again, as I mentioned, we have Jupyter notebooks. It's easy for you to get started. Again, super easy command line interface. We have documented sections for you to implement how, how to use Tensorboard for TAO Toolkit. Let me actually go back here, sorry. Yeah, so I'll just give a few seconds so you can take a look at how this works. There you go. You can measure accuracy, but also witness the histogram view of the weights. Cool. So all of these Jupyter notebooks are easily available, and I'll share the links at the end of it. But again, this is more so to show how to import your very own Onyx model and use a TAO Toolkit, and then also visualize the model training process using Tensorboard. All right, now let's put it all together. So you heard about pre-trained models. Let's say, for instance, you're building a retail application. So you need some sort of sensor, it could be like a simple camera that captures video. For those who are not familiar with how to build a vision AI application, you typically need a sensor. You need to decode the video streams that are coming in. You want to make sure, that you scale the input stream and make sure that it's tied to a specific application. Let's say, for instance, you want to detect people in a Walmart setting. It could be like a grocery store where you want to know how many people enter in and out every single day, and maybe or even like checking the inventory at a specific grocery store, and so on. So you can do a bunch of these things, and in an ideal, or rather consider a complex enterprise application. It's not one model. You need to bring together multiple things. For instance, you want to detect people, but also you want to detect, let's say, for instance, if a person fell at a specific section of the grocery store, right? Like, let's say, activity recognition, could be, action classification. Are they walking, running, standing still? You could do all of that with our pre-trained models and TAO Toolkit. Here is an example of how it will all come together. So basically, it's detecting people, it's classifying the action, which is walking. And you'll see that, it's highly accurate, that it's picking up the other, people that are, walking by. Again, the more custom and efficient data that you have, the more accurate your model is going to be. And it's an iteration process. But imagine it would be much rather beneficial for you to use something that's already pre-built or task built, instead of building everything from scratch, where you have to bring in large data sets. You have to make more time to learn about frameworks. You have to make more time to learn about how to integrate these models, how to train them, and get the best out of, let's say, a combination of models for a specific use case. But instead, you can use these already built, easy to use, pre-trained models and TAO Toolkit, and you're on your way to implement your application. Whether you're an AI enthusiast who wants to get started with building, let's say, a simple mask detection application, or you could be thinking about, hey, let me build an application for my startup company, or you could be, let's say, let's say an entity, a government entity in Nigeria, for instance, who wants to learn about traffic analytics to make sure there is less congestion at a specific traffic intersection. You could do all of that with, easy to use pre-trained models and TAO Toolkit. This is another walkthrough explanation.
I'll show you how to train a simple 3-class.
Let me actually remove the voice. Again, in the interest of time, I'm going to jump right into how easy it is to use our Jupyter notebooks, but, evaluate the model, retrain it, prune it. I'll share these examples with you at the end of my presentation, but here, here is the model, Oh, I missed it, I guess. All right. Okay. So basically, the idea here is that, you can take any of our pre-trained models, train with your custom data. That's actually our product manager of TAO Toolkit, who's, bringing in custom data to implement an action recognition demo. So basically, it is to detect, the person is exercising and so on. There are more technical walkthroughs. If you want to get started today, we have a real-time license plate detection and recognition application at a traffic junction. It walks you through end to end in terms of how to, set up the pre-trained models and TAO Toolkit to detect cars, to detect the license plate, to count the number of cars, identify the color of the car. You can add a variety of, classes or, pull requests in terms of what analytics you want out of each combination of pre-trained models. There's also a hand gesture recognition application where you do thumbs up and then it actually detects the recognizes the gesture, which is thumbs up or stop, and basically hand gesture recognition. There's also the third one, which is a face mask detector, where you can detect people wearing the mask, not wearing the mask. It's pretty straightforward. If you haven't tried it yet, take a look at these technical walkthroughs. All of the pre-trained models are free. TAO Toolkit is free. If you want to go one step further and actually want to try it out for a very brief time, we have Launchpad. Think of Launchpad as our sandbox environment where you can get hands-on experience and try out TAO Toolkit. If you want to request access to Launchpad, there is a link here. Again, I'll share this presentation, make the request. If you have further questions, you can reach me as well. I believe the access is for about, 2 to 6 weeks, depending on whether you're a developer or a startup or a big corporation, but you're welcome to try and get a test drive of TAO Toolkit on our Launchpad. So there are additional developer resources like the 2D pose estimation one, and then the action recognition model that I briefly showed earlier. There are lots and lots of white papers and additional end-to-end technical walkthroughs. We have a collection of Jupyter notebooks as well for you to get started. But I also encourage you to come join us at NVIDIA GTC, which is our AI and Metaverse conference that's happening September 19th to 22nd next month. In summary, TAO Toolkit, along with the pre-trained models, are helping many developers, startups, and corporations across many different industries. We have companies who are trying to sort, or do waste management, and they're using TAO Toolkit to do the visual inspection and sorting of recycling items. We have Quantify, for instance, that's using TAO Toolkit and our pre-trained models to detect safety in a warehouse setting, but also making sure that all of the products are stocked well and so on. There's INEX that's using our pre-trained models and TAO Toolkit for traffic analytics, and also making sure that truckers are safe, and also it's more of a traffic analytics application. So there are many a variety of applications used by our implemented by our developers and startups. We also work with our data generation and labeling partners. I'm sure you would have heard of at least one of them: Labelbox, Hasty, Appen, UA AI. You can bring in synthetic data and train your models. We have a plethora of these partners that offer synthetic data for you if you don't have your own data, but also you can train with any open source data sets as well. It's up to you how you want to use the models. As I mentioned, we already have a plethora of models that NVIDIA has already built and made it easier for you, but you can also bring your Onyx ready models and import it to TAO Toolkit. In summary, TAO Toolkit is our low-code AI model offering that allows you to train, adapt, and optimize. We have some really cool features, like including REST API integration, where you can deploy TAO Toolkit as a service. You can bring in non-native models from Onyx and perform training and optimization. We also continuously add, pretty much on a monthly basis, newer pre-trained models, and also update the existing ones. So I'd highly encourage you to take a look at TAO Toolkit and our pre-trained models, try it out. And if you build any cool applications, let us know. We would love to feature your, the cool app that you've built. So this is my final slide. So I encourage all of you to join us at NVIDIA GTC. It's our technology conference for the era of AI and Metaverse. We have lots of exciting talks. You can dive deeper into the low-code, no-code side of things, learn more about pre-trained models, TAO Toolkit, how to deploy one of these pipelines, and so on. That's it from my side. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really enjoyed presenting to you, and I'm happy to take questions or commentary from the community.
Wow, thank you so much, Amulya. This is amazing. I mean, it's so insightful. Something I learned is you don't need to take all the time trying to build and learn models. We have a simple TAO toolkit that can help you, and there are lots of models that you can actually choose from, and then you can activate them using simple commands, and they are ready to use Jupyter Notebook. I mean, that is, and I'm super excited. When I looked at the organization that have adopted TAO Toolkit, it's really amazing. So moving quickly to question and answer. So we have some questions here on the chat already. I'll just pick some of them because of our time. So the first question here is, how do you assess the TAO Toolkit? how do we access it?
So TAO Toolkit can be easily downloaded from NGC. So NGC is, as I mentioned, our repository. So I'll share the link to, download TAO Toolkit. So you basically need an x86 machine to get started with TAO Toolkit. And it's pretty straightforward. You can download all of the models and TAO Toolkit itself from NGC. And I'm sharing the link in just a moment. All right, it's right here.
So yes, I can see the link. Okay, so someone is asking, please, how can this model be integrated into electronic devices after building the model for a particular purpose?
Sorry, could you please repeat?
Okay, should I go over that? Okay, so how can this model be integrated into electronic devices?
Okay, so the way you think of implementing a model, or the purpose of the model is to like perform a specific task. For instance, like you build a model with specific data set, and like you apply transfer learning, and you export the model, and you have to deploy it on a specific platform. For instance, in this case, you're asking about electronic devices, which means it's some sort of a hardware. So typically, we have a lot of the customers and developers using NVIDIA Jetson, and the easiest like way for you to deploy. Again, there is the model building part. There is the model training part, and then you want to deploy the model. So when you do all of the training and building of the model, you're using pre-trained models and you're using TAO Toolkit. But when it comes to deploying, which is what the question is about for a specific use case or purpose, with an electronic device, you basically need a platform, a compute platform that allows you to deploy. And there is a deployment SDK, as I mentioned during the call. So if you're building a CV-based application, then you can use DeepStream. I'm typing that in the chat window. If you're building, let's say a conversational AI application, you can use Riva. All of these software SDKs are free to use. My apologies. I think I responded only to one person instead of everyone. I'll repaste it. But essentially, the whole model building to deployment process is in phases. You gather data, you build a model, you apply transfer learning, you customize the model, you make sure it preserves accuracy, you export the model, and you want to deploy it. And deployment could be any type of a device. You need a deployment SDK for that. So use DeepStream. Ideally, I think that would work really well. For a conversational AI application, you can use Riva, and you can use NVIDIA's compute platforms such as Jetson, and like we also have like the smallest pocket device, which is Jetson Nano, all the way to Jetson Xavier and so on. I know it's a lot for this session, but takeaway is that you need a deployment SDK and you need a compute platform to do that for you, whether it's going to be on-prem or an edge device. It's certainly possible. Okay.
All right. So it is very, very possible. I hope the person gets the answer right. All right. So another question, do I need to have sound understanding of TensorFlow and PyTorch to use the TAO model?
Okay, great question. So it's always nice to know more, right? That's always a thing. But like the industry is shifting, the way developers look at things, the way companies build tools for developers look, like is changing. So like I would say that it's always nice to have that additional knowledge, but it's not necessary for you to like spend weeks and weeks to know about it in depth, because tools like NVIDIA TAO Toolkit abstract that for you. So essentially, under the hood, it's still using TensorFlow and PyTorch, but as a user, somebody who's trying to get started with, let's say, building a simple AI application, you don't really have to get to the weeds of it and understand, like, wait a minute, how do I build a model using TensorFlow and so on. all of that is abstracted. And that's where the industry is headed, because they don't want a professional like you joining a company, or let's say starting your own venture, spending a lot of time building a model and like trying to take more time to train and deploy a model. Everything needs to happen fast, everything needs to happen efficiently, and that's why pre-trained models are being offered by NVIDIA to simplify your journey, and TAO Toolkit has been offered to abstract and really simplify developer productivity.
All right. So I'm going to pick the last question. All right. Is it possible to get a job just mastering no-code tools? Is it possible to get a job?
All right, so that's also a good question. So I would say one thing is that, the more you know, the better it is. But again, like narrow down your focus. Let's say, for instance, if you want to be on the data or modeling side of things, if you're a data scientist, it's always nice to know how the frameworks work, but also from an industry setting. Let's say you're joining a company, they do not want you to spend hours and hours learning about how to implement it using a specific framework. If you can do it faster, more efficiently, then I think, like you should definitely consider adding, like using no-code, low-code tools as one of your skills on whether it's LinkedIn or other avenues. But also, if you want to learn more about how to evolve with these skills and, develop yourself as a deep learning engineer, or, like how to find your pathway into the, AI relevant roles and companies, we have two sessions happening at NVIDIA GTC. One is, tips and career journey on how to get started as a deep learning engineer. I can try to find that here, but if you have the GTC session link, look up, like career and deep learning, you'll find that session. Also, we have another session run by our community manager, Troy Estes, and that will also let you speak directly with people who have a wide variety of background, technical and non-technical, who have made and established a career in AI. So I would highly encourage you to join us at GTC to learn more there as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Amulya. We are really, really excited. I've learned a lot, and I believe everyone has had the same similar experience. So thank you so much. Right about now, we're moving closely to the end of the program. Yes, so I'll speak about data fluency. So our data fluency platform is the platform whereby we evaluate organizational ability to generate data, to store data effectively, and get maximum value for them. So what that means is data scientist network have created a platform whereby as an organization, you can know how you're faring with data. Are you generating this data appropriately? Are you storing them effectively? Are you getting maximum benefit from them? So I will encourage you to scan the code or visit the link you have on your screen right now. It's a simplified way. All you need to do is to go to the landing page like you have right now. You click to start, and all you have there is simple Q&A question, simple questions and answer format, multiple choice formats. You just fill them, and at the end of the day, this platform will give you how you're faring. A qualitative score, and then also give you recommendation on how you can improve data fluency in your organization. So we're looking at, remember when I started this program at 4, I said it's a 3-day program. So our next event is no-code machine learning with QLeak AutoML. And David Akonji will be anchoring that tomorrow. So we love to, we love that you invite people, tell your friends. I know you've really, really enjoyed today's session. So I'd like you to invite more people to join in for our session tomorrow. It's really going to be amazing. Today has been amazing. I'm fascinated about the TAO Toolkit, how that you have lots and lots of models you can learn from, adjust your click. And that's really, really amazing. So thank you everyone for joining. We encourage you to join our community of professionals. You can scan the code on the screen, or you just, join through the link. My colleagues will we'll drop the link in the chat section so you can join our community. We have lots and lots of things to offer. There are a lot of program like this. You have first-hand information, so you can prepare on time, you can join in, you can invite others, and you can participate, as much as you can. So thank you so much, everyone. So you can like us on Twitter, follow us, that's our website, join us, join our community. I would love to see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be amazing also. So thank you everyone for joining, and have an amazing day. Bye.
Thanks all. Bye.
All right, bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Listen.